just really understood residual because I was going to Florida for another network marketing opportunity. And he said to me, he said, here's what I can promise you. If you get on board, I'm going to work. And when you come back, I'm going to show you the power of this thing. Okay, fine. I said, you know, I'm spending a lot of money in Florida to get there. So I don't have money. He said, promise I know you. He said, just come to a presentation. So I came. Sat, I saw Irwin, and Irwin is the same person he is today. Same dynamic person. And you remember, you came and you sat next to me, and we talked. And he was in the same opportunity that I was in. And I said, okay, fine, I'll join. I went to Florida, came back, and there were 2 people in my business already. I didn't even touch Numis. I said, wow, so let me dig in. So I got on the phone, and I called one of my friends, and he works for a phone company, and, you know, I'm excited. You know, you do what they tell you, you know, just call and say we're marketing gold and silver coins. So I did the pitch. I said, hey, you know, he said, Primus, I know, you're trying to sell me something. I said, no, we're marketing, it's not selling. He said, you're trying to sell me something, and I don't want to sell. Now, take for instance, this guy works for a phone company. What he does is, he calls people up, thank them for their service, and try to sell them. This is what he does 8 hours a day. And he's telling me, I don't want to sell. So I said, why? You do? He said, well, let me tell you why I don't want to sell. I was on the phone the other day, and I called someone up to thank them for their cell phone service. And the person said to me, dude, I'm 13. I said, you're 13? He said, yeah. It's my mom that got this phone. So he said, okay, well, let me speak to the mom. So he spoke to the mom, and he said, this lady told me every which way about why I should be calling a 13-year-old, how unethical it is, and all this kind of stuff. I said, did she upgrade? He said, yes. I said, why? Because I showed her value. And what'd you get for it? He said, well, it hit my stats. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, are you serious? And you don't want to market coins? He goes, you're going to try to get me to sell? I'm like, you already sell. So I say that story because that's what drove me to really understand teams. Because let me say this, if you don't build teams, you don't make residual. That's the bottom line. And so you have to build a team. And so I really try to understand what his mentality is. Because this was my friend. I said, you know, you're still going to be my friend. In the back of my head, I said, I don't know why, but you know, you're still going to be my friend, but why do you think the way you think? You sell every single day, but yet you don't want to do this. And I think, guys, this is pretty much what is going to be on your team. Everyone's going to fit in a certain category. But let me show you this. Okay, well, let me talk about a category first. Whenever you speak to someone about Numis, they're either going to want more time, they're either going to want more money, or they're either going to want more power. And there's a way to approach each one. You know, if somebody wants more time, you talk about the residual. If someone wants more money, you talk about the coded bonuses. If someone wants more power, you talk about how we're, first company's doing it. We have a, you know, I pitch people. I mean, I was talking to Burke about it. You know, I was trying to get into Puerto Rico, the Puerto Rico market. And my pitch was, I actually got a guy after about 6 days of trying. And I said to him, I said, do you know anyone in Canada? He said, no. I said, how would you like to make residual off of Canadians because of me? See. And you know, he was excited. I never spoke to him again because he never returned my call. But the point I'm trying to make is that everyone in your business is going to fit into that category. Time, money, and power. And how you deal with each person on that level is what's going to make your team grow. So let me show you this. You have to have the ability to spot something. In this can, mine is the preservatives. They're beans, right? Does everybody agree with that? Yeah. Right. Can someone see something else in this can, though? I mean, think hard, think deeply. Is there something else in this can?
Water. Special bean?
No, mine is the preservatives. Just deal with the beans. Just think about the beans for a second. Is there something else in this can?
Toilet paper.
Metal content.
I'm glad you're answering like that.
Fiber.
Because, yeah, I'm glad you answered that. Because in this can is not a bean. But in this can are beans upon beans upon beans upon beans upon beans. What makes beans?
Beans.
Got it.
What?
So, if it stays in this can, it's going to be a bean. If you plant it, it's going to become a bean. Now, when you get that bean, you take that bean out, you replant that. So one of these beans, just one, is a nation of beans. But it can't stay in the can. That's how people are on your team. You got to be able to spot their potential. You got to be able to slowly learn how to plan. So someone with time, you're not going to pitch them on. Someone that wants more time, you're not going to say, well, you need to come to every PBR. Because they already told you from the beginning, I need more time. So you're going to learn how to slowly get them, slowly on conference calls, things that cater towards that person, that individual. And guess what happens as you start duplicating that? When you run into someone else that needs more time, we talked about edification. Are you going to call someone, for that person to go on the conference call, are you going to call someone that wants more money? No, you're going to call the person that's already in the team that wants more time and is trying to achieve it. See, and this is what happens, duplication purpose. So in order for you to get beans upon beans in this can, you got to plant it. You have to have a system. This is how you build your team, believe it or not. Every page in this book is a systematic process of how you can plant into someone and how you can get them to grow to a point. Because a long time ago, my father in the faith, he said to me, he said, the most powerful way of making money is to make money while you sleep. And he talked about Adam. He said, when Adam planted a tree, he never had to worry about that tree again. He never. That tree would grow and grow and grow. So there's certain things that has to happen, but I think the main thing that we need to understand is how to pull the potential out of each person. And that goes back to their value system. On your team, you have to remember why that person signed up. Olu talked about the why. You've got to keep that because they're important to you. Their why has to be important to you. My team will tell you. Information. Let's go with this. A person cannot live beyond their belief system. So the belief system is developed when you were young, you were given a set of values, and your mind, believe it or not, is governed by those values. So I grew up, I don't know how I got out of this, but I grew up, and every single day my mom said, you better go to school, you better get an education, you better get a job. And that was my value system. Somewhere along the line, somebody broke into that. And they somehow rewired the way my neurons flow. Because that's all I've been told. And then when I look around, everybody in my family were professionals. Nobody was a business owner. That's what we're doing. We're rewiring those values. And you got to start with, again, understanding your why. So I never spoke back to my friend because he's got some growing to do. And I was listening to a call. And you guys, again, you gotta get into this. I was listening to a call. I think it's how to make a list. And that revolutionized my thinking because in that call, and I actually did it. I had a list because this is what the system teaches. In that call, Jake was talking about labeling the list, and I had not done that. So I labeled the list, and the list was labeled B for business people, network marketers, fellow network marketers. A were other people who I really don't know how they think yet. I don't know how they'll approach the opportunity. And the E's were people that love me, that trust me, that if I said jump, they'll say how high. They just trust me. And then I took that list and I looked at the people that were in the business. And I had about 14 E's on that list. 12 were in the business. And I remember I called upon them and I said, there's something going on. Because if I could get those E's to talk to their E's. And I remember how I came in the business. I just trusted Zion. I was going to Florida. I just trusted him. So if you get the people that just trust you to just simply talk to the people that trust them, to simply talk, after a sudden there's going to be a lot of E's, but you know what's more important? There's going to be a lot of people that trust each other in business. And that cohesiveness is what's going to fly. You know? I'll leave you with this. I learned this a long time ago. Actually, I need to, because it was such a long time ago, I got to go back to it. The way we think, there are 4 processes in the way we think. The first process called the unconscious incompetence. And that's the unconscious incompetence mode. And what that is you don't know that you don't know. And most people we talk to, they don't know that they don't know. So they're going to be operating on that level. The second level is called the conscious incompetence, which is they know that they don't know. That was the mode I was operating at when I first saw it, because I was like, well, I heard gold and silver, but I really don't know the business. I don't really understand the business. The third level is where most of us are at, which is it's called the conscious incompetence, which is you kind of understand it, you know it, you can think through it. Okay, so I got to call someone, what am I going to say? And then the last level is called the unconscious incompetence. If you